Once upon a time in the early 20th century, a renowned archaeologist named Dr. Alexander Grant embarked on a daring expedition to uncover the secrets hidden within the tomb of a lost, unknown pharaoh. Driven by a thirst of knowledge and insatiable curiosity, he assembled a team of experts and ventured into the heart of the Valley of the Kings. Their excavation progressed steadily, unearthing treasures and artifacts that revealed the magnificence of ancient Egypt. However, as they approached the entrance to the unknown pharaoh's tomb, an eerie sensation gripped the team. Unexplained whispers echoed through the desert winds, and shadows seemed to dance along the walls of the ancient burial ground. Ignoring the signs, Dr. Grant and his team passed on, unsealing the tomb's entrance. As they entered the dimly lit chamber, they were greeted by the sight of glittering riches and the lingering scent of ancient rituals. They began their meticulous examination. But soon, strange occurrences began to plague the team. Some claimed to hear distant cries, others swore they saw fleeing figures. As days turned into weeks, the atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive. The once energetic team members became plagued by inexplicable fatigue, relentless headaches, and unsettling nightmares. Whispers among the locals spoke of the curse of the pharaoh, a warning that grave robbers and intruders would suffer a terrible fate. Dr. Grant, haunted by guilt, questioned his own actions. In the depths of his despair, Dr. Grant made a fateful decision. He resolved to restore the sanctity of the unknown pharaoh's tomb. They returned the treasures to their rightful places, seeking forgiveness from the ancient unknown pharaoh. As the last artifact was carefully arranged, a sudden calm washed over the team. Free from the grip of the curse, they carried with them a profound respect for the power and mystery of the ancient world, forever changed by their encounter with the unknown pharaoh's tomb. The story of Dr. Grant and the curse of the pharaoh serves as a chilling reminder that some mysteries are better left undisturbed, and the wrath of the past can haunt those who dare to trespass on the sacred grounds of civilization. My name is Kayla, this is King Tut, and we are Cauldron Convos, baby!
Yeah, we're covering the curse of the Pharaoh this week. Nothing like a 10,000-year-old civilization stuffing their dead.
And we can do so many episodes on ancient Egypt, but we just wanted to start with like the basics here. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you more than you will ever know. And if you are new to this channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I know so many YouTubers say hit that subscribe button, but we mean it because we post multiple times a week, every single week here on the spine-chilling, paranormal, conspiracy, true crime topics that you definitely want to hear about. And we really try to entertain you and make you laugh always. That's our goal. So if you want to, if you feel bad for us, please
join our Discord. We are trying to start a Discord and start a community conversation. We have a community conversation going, okay?
It's like the tombs. There's no one living in them.
We've got like 5 members, and I love each and every one of you.
Oh, yeah, we do. Anyway, but we wanted to start off with King Tut's tomb, because that's kind of how the curse of the pharaoh popularized, basically.
Yeah, I would say King Tut is probably the most popular Egyptian pharaoh because primarily his tomb. It was the only Egyptian tomb that was found completely untouched. Woo! Because like when you'd croak, right, the Egyptians, will go into this in a little bit, but they'd throw a bunch of gold and stuff with the body. Mm-hmm. So all the, like the, plebeians would go, break in.
Yeah,
steal,
but not King Tut until 1920-something.
Grave rob him.
Tutankhamun, also known as King Tut, was an Egyptian pharaoh of the 18th dynasty who ascended to the throne at a very young age, around 9 or 10 years old.
Can you imagine just being like the leader?
And this was in the 14th century BCE, and he ruled Egypt for a relatively short period of time, from approximately 1332 BCE to 1323 BCE, because he unexpectedly died at the age of around 18 or 19 years old. So he got like about 10 years in.
Those are a good 10 years though. Pretty formative.
Mm-hmm. And he was buried in the Valley of the Kings. It was at least the burial ground for many pharaohs in the New Kingdom and was near modern-day Luxor. So if you're familiar with Egyptian geography, there you go.
That's where on a map, baby.
That's where it is modern day. I'm like, I love when they say that. It's like modern day, blah, 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 like a city.
Well,
it's
maybe
like,
they want to go
that?
there.
True. All right. Alexa, buy me a ticket to Luxor right now. Now, his designated tomb was numbered KV62. Now, I did not know that they numbered them. At least I didn't know that they numbered them for pharaohs.
Well, there was a whole idea that King Tut's tomb wasn't actually for him.
Yes, it wasn't. It was actually intended for someone else because of its modest size.
Pharaohs would be balling in the afterlife.
Yeah, and King Tut had a relatively small one compared to the pharaohs. I mean, it was modest
pop
in
up
size.
a little photo of his chambers. You can see that.
That's also a topic that people question and theorize on and have like little conspiracies. Like, why was King Tut okay with that? Was he okay with that? Was that just, did that happen on purpose? Did that happen on accident? Was it a way to conceal where he really was?
Well, I think that's a good way to not get broken into.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no one's going to break into the shitty small house on the street.
After King Tut died, as well as all of the pharaohs, came the burial process. Now, the burial process was very important in ancient Egypt because they believed in an afterlife, where the deceased would continue their existence in a realm similar to the earthly one. So they wanted to prepare for this next life. The rituals and preparations aim to ensure a smooth transition and provide the deceased with everything that they would need in the afterlife. So let's get into the burial process, and I know you might want to skip this, but you shouldn't because it's actually kind of important. I feel like I wish I paid more attention to ancient Egypt burial or just anything ancient Egypt in like middle school. That's when the last time I learned
why did they teach
about it.
that in middle school?
Yeah,
I think that should be a college topic.
Yeah. So if you forgot, like us, if you didn't pay attention, the burial process involved several stages and rituals aimed at ensuring the deceased's successful journey into the afterlife. The process began with mummification, which aimed to preserve the body for the afterlife. It involved the removal of organs, except for the heart, which was believed to be the seat of the soul. So all the other organs, gone. Put in what? A jar.
Jars.
And the body was treated.
It was basically packed like a pig with salt. They'd slice you down the middle, pack you like a pig.
Or a pickle jar.
Maybe they didn't slice you down the middle, actually. I actually remember seeing a diagram of how they did it. It was very interesting. It was very science-based.
So then comes the opening of the mouth ceremony, which is a ritual performed by priests. Oh my god, that sounds so wrong.
Where they
when
jam.
priests open mouths. Stop! Priests restore the senses and abilities of the deceased in the afterlife. So they would touch specific parts of the mummy with ceremonial tools while reciting prayers, and they thought that this would restore the senses and abilities, and they would take them with them to the next life.
Something interesting is that the Catholic priest has actually begun the opening of the mouth ceremony. They picked it up from the ancient
Okay. Yeah.
Egyptians.
You can't blame me.
It was the Egyptians. What do you mean? I was just following history. Come on, they did it.
Oh my god. The coffin and funerary mask is when the mummified body was placed in a series of coffins, each nested within one another. So this is a fortress in here. There's coffin within coffin within coffin.
It's like one of those Russian
tomb.
dolls of dead body in the middle. It's not like candy in the middle. It's a dead
wooden
body.
ones, yes. So the innermost coffin, though, would be made of a precious material, such as gold, if you were a baddie.
It'd be a funerary mask, too, placed on the actual mummy. And it was like three-dimensional. It was like a Darth Vader helmet. I'm wearing one. What's up, queens? I look good in my funerary mask. Vogue.
Okay. It was usually gold or painted wood and was placed over the mummy's head, often depicting
No,
the
King
deceased.
Tut's was solid fucking gold.
Yeah, his was, but if you were, maybe a little bit less than King Tut, maybe you would have a hand-painted one. You couldn't afford like a solid gold one.
There's
But yes,
some
King
freaky
Tut.
shit.
And the burial chambers were filled with other funerary equipment and items that were believed to be necessary in the afterlife. These included things like furniture, chariots, statues, food offerings, clothing, jewelry, and even pets or servants represented as figurines. And not King Tut, but I've heard that others were like buried with their animals.
So they would have animals that were mummified and then wrapped, And at the Field Museum in Chicago, they actually have a whole display of different mummified animals.
Wow. I want to be mummified with all of my pets.
Sure.
That would make me feel so good. I mean, not mummified, whatever. Bring tombs back, everybody. As you can imagine, tomb construction was a big thing. In the Valley of the Kings, they constructed elaborate tombs such as pyramids or rock-cut tombs, and the tombs often featured multiple chambers, corridors, and intricate wall decorations, depicting scenes from religious texts, rituals, and the deceased's life. I feel as if most of the pharaohs had there was so much more work put into that than like the normal American's home. The average American, right? Like it's a tomb.
Well,
They
that's
don't
what it
even
was
live
like when
there.
you had a bunch of slaves.
And also when you believe in the afterlife so much.
Oftentimes when as a pharaoh, you'd spend like a majority of your pharaohship like creating your own tomb. But Tutankhamun was so young, no one expected him to fall off a chariot, break his leg, and croak. So it's like he probably hadn't even started his death
So
house.
do you think the ancient Egyptians were happy in
Fuck
general?
yeah, they had beer
Because
they had sailing.
Okay.
And
But
they had women.
because they thought so much of the after, like they knew they were gonna die so much, like they just constantly thought of it. I think that they just like lived this life to their fullest, you know?
Yeah, I think so. I feel
Let's
like being an
go.
Egyptian.
King Tut.
I feel like there's probably two scales of being an Egyptian. Either it was fucking baller
Horrible.
or it sucked ass. And it's
Yeah,
like
that's
there's
true.
no in between.
Yeah, kind of like America. Just kidding.
Stay woke, bitch.
Stay woke. Anyway,
That's okay.
next comes the opening of the mouth ritual. I thought, the second opening of the mouth ritual. Didn't finish at the first one.
Another religious ceremony adopted by the Catholic Church.
Yes, and it was performed at the tomb entrance, where a priest would touch the mummy's mouth with a special tool to restore the ability to speak and eat in the afterlife. So they're closing up the tomb kind of thing-ish. He's leaving the tomb, the priest, and then he's doing that because he's already restored other bodily functions. And now he's like, okay, now you can speak and eat.
I feel like it's
whatever.
Imagine.
We're going to get cursed by King Tut. Regular rituals and offerings were also conducted at the tomb to sustain the deceased spirit. Relatives, priests, and servants would bring food, drink, and other offerings, believed that the offering's essence nourished the spirit of the deceased. Oh my god, the servants would bring food and drink. The drink's like they're piss and shit. Have some food and drink, bitch. King Tut, remember when you made me, I don't know,
Rub
lick
your
your foot? Yeah.
Just to lick your foot.
Eat this. Drink this. How can you expect a servant to properly take... Oh, wait.
think,
Maybe because
Kayla,
they believed in the afterlife so much.
I
that
think it was more of a respect culture back in the day.
Even if you're a servant and you see the
A
inequalities.
servant's probably balling in ancient Egypt. They're living in the palace.
You just said how bad it was like a minute
No,
ago.
but I think...
Oh, slave and servant is
like,
different?
Yeah, I think.
Oh.
Call me ignorant, but I feel like there were people that, like, you know, dressed King Tut and stuff and probably like...
Oh, I see. But still, I would be like, fuck you. Anyway.
Fuck you, bitch.
For everyone watching, do not hire me as a...
Not everyone
As an
hates their
assistant.
boss.
Oh. Then the tomb was sealed, and inscriptions and prayers were written on the walls to protect the deceased and guide them through the journey to the afterlife.
Yeah, and a lot of chapters of the Book of Death, which is like an Egyptian thing, pretty metal, pretty Marilyn Manson, like 10,000 years before Marilyn Manson.
Over time, King Tut's tomb was forgotten as subsequent pharaohs and their tombs took prominence.
You could say his tomb was a King Tut in the wind.
Ooh, just a fart in the wind. No one cared anymore.
King Tut in the wind.
But then, in November of 1922, the tomb of King Tut was rediscovered by British archaeologist Howard Carter. Howard had financial backing from some guy named Lord Carnarvon. He wasn't a carnivore. Actually, probably was. But is this...
That's not how you say it.
Carnarvon?
No, let me read it.
Carvana. This episode is sponsored by Carvana. Lord Carnarvon. His discovery of the nearly intact tomb and its treasures caused a worldwide craze, and it still remains one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of the 20th century.
It was accidentally discovered by an Egyptian boy.
The artifacts found in King Tut's tomb provided more insight into the art, religion, and daily life of ancient Egypt that we were all waiting for.
This was like the
Well, not
Rosetta
me.
Stone of
Wasn't there,
tombs of ancient Egypt.
True.
So, like, for big grave enthusiasts like Kayla, you know, this was a big deal.
Because the tomb itself was mostly intact, unlike many others that had been looted and damaged over the centuries.
Pillaged.
This discovery attracted worldwide attention and sparked immense public interest in ancient Egypt. Over the course of several years, Carter and his team meticulously excavated and cataloged the treasures within the tomb.
It's crazy that they were able to, like, meticulously do this in the 20s. I feel like things were so razzmatazz back then. Razzmatazz.
I know, like they had an X-ray, and I was like,
Yeah,
what?
and like
How'd
to
you
be
know?
honest, they snapped some pics. It's like pics that didn't happen, so they snapped some pics
I didn't even know they had a
as
camera.
they
I forgot about
opened
that.
it, and it's like, dude, they junked this place up. It was like fucking hoarders, buried alive, King Tut edition, buried
That's
dead.
funny. After they found King Tut's tomb and his remains, scientists actually had some debate on the cause of death of King Tut. Now, the initial examination of his mummy revealed a fracture at the base of his skull, leading to speculation that he may have died from a blow to the head. So someone, like his servant, was like, I'm sick of this life. But
Or it
no.
wasn't the priest.
It wasn't, yeah, maybe. However, more
Maybe it was
after
post-
the open mouth. No, it was.
a post-death
It was.
blow to the head.
Yeah, that's after more analysis, they discovered that the fracture occurred after he died, which was most likely during the mummification process.
Oh no, it was during the open mouth ceremony.
Or they like dropped him. They were just like, okay, let's move him in 3, 2, 1. And then
Whoop.
they just like smack, crash, snack, crapple, pop, Rice Krispies. So based on various scientific
examinations,
including CT scans and DNA analysis, the most common theory is that King Tut died unexpectedly, possibly due to complications from a leg fracture combined with severe infection. Some note he may have had a genetic disorder or other health problems, as his remains show evidence of physical ailments such as a cleft palate and a club foot. It's crazy that they can figure that out from a mummification.
Well, that's really a testament to how well the priests freaking stuff their bodies with salt.
Mummification?
64. So I watched this whole History Channel documentary, probably way too long, and they basically concluded he fell off a chariot.
The story of King Tut's tomb and his untimely death continues to captivate the world, showcasing the marvels of ancient Egyptian civilization and providing insight into the life of a young pharaoh that was notable. This brings us to the curse of the pharaoh, though, okay? As the curse of the pharaoh is most famously associated with King Tut's tomb, that's kind of how the curse
began.
The curse of the pharaoh is an alleged curse or a legend that anyone who disturbs the resting place of the pharaohs will get a supernatural curse that brings misfortune, illness, or even death. Especially so if the belongings or the bodies are removed or tampered with or whatever. Some believe the legend of the curse serves as a protective mechanism put in place by the ancient Egyptians to safeguard their tombs from theft and desecration. So that would make sense, you know, like if I'm someone that's dying, and I would put a warning, like, don't touch me, bitch.
Yeah, well, that was actually on the door of a lot of these tombs, and they were fortified. These were, like, huge stone doors.
I mean, they were buried in 3 separate, like,
chambers.
Casket-esque
They were chambers.
things,
Well, they were, like, a bunch of different chambers with all stone doors, and then inside the chambers, there's, like, a Russian doll with a dead body in it.
Yep. This alleged curse or legend was brought to people's attention when they opened up our good old friend King Tut's tomb. Now, since Lord Carnarvon financially funded the expedition to find King Tut's tomb, it's said that this is why something dark happened to him. He had been bitten by a mosquito, which I did not know mosquitoes were there. I guess they had to have been. Where
mosquitoes have been everywhere.
Mosquitoes have been around.
Have you like seen Jurassic Park? No. Where that's what Alexander Grant's from, by the way.
Oh.
It's like they extract DNA from a mosquito.
Oh no, not
I mean,
the last
that's not
one.
possible.
Not the most recent one you're talking about, where all those bugs.
Oh, that was a stupid movie.
I know, that was. He had been bitten by a mosquito and later slashed the bite accidentally while shaving. How do you do that, you idiot?
With like straight razors.
Oh, true.
They're pretty metal back in the day.
I'm like using like a nice little like soapy girly razor. I'm like,
it's like hot pink. Dude, the women's razors are better than the men's. Hot take.
Really? I heard that it's the opposite. The men's are cheaper. Marketing thinks that women will spend more on beauty and stuff, so they make them more expensive.
Well, my mom has
fancy.
these women's disposable razors that are very good.
It became infected, and that resulted in blood poisoning, and then the death of Lord whatever the heck
Carnarvon.
In 1923, which was less than a year after they opened the tomb, and he funded it.
What a shame.
Coincidence? I think not, because 2 weeks before he died, Marie Corelli wrote an imaginative letter that was published in the New York World magazine, in which she quoted an obscure book that confidently asserted that, quote, dire punishment would follow any intrusion into a sealed tomb. So, of course, a media frenzy followed this. It was like, oh my God, this guy died. He financially backed it. This is crazy. There's a curse. And as a result, the superstitious Benito Mussolini, who had once accepted an Egyptian mummy as a gift, also like, who gives that as a gift?
I mean, Hitler's little
I guess,
pawn.
like, what do you get Mussolini when he has everything besides mummies? You get him a fucking mummy. He's like, I could take anything that I want. Besides,
I wonder if he made it into a sarcophagus table.
Okay. He ordered its immediate removal from the Palazzo Chigi. I don't know if that's what it's called. I don't know much about Mussolini besides that he sucked. And Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who is the creator of Sherlock Holmes, who is also a spiritualist, so shout out to him, okay, if you like Sherlock Holmes and you're not a spiritualist / supernatural baddie, who even are you? He suggested that the Lord's death had been caused by, quote, elementals created by King Tut's priests to guard the royal tomb. And this further fueled the media interest.
Honestly, I believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I came across a tomb, I'm like, all right, you guys can go in. I'll watch.
Yeah. That's like, you don't touch that. Arthur Weigel reported that 6 weeks before the Lord's death, he had watched the Earl laughing and joking as he entered the king's tomb and said to a nearby reporter, who was H.V. Morton, I give him 6 weeks to live. Whoa.
Damn.
And the first autopsy carried out on the body of King Tut by Dr. Derry found a healed lesion on the left cheek. But as the Lord had been buried, I keep calling him the Lord, but as
Lord Carnarvon.
But as Lord Carnarvon had been buried 6 months previously, it was not possible to determine if the location of the wound on the king corresponded with that fatal mosquito bite.
Damn.
Because he was shaving, so it was like, was it the same area on the left cheek?
Probably.
Not? And then in 1925, the anthropologist Henry Field visited the tomb and recalled the kindness and friendliness of Carter. He also reported how a paperweight given to Carter's friend Sir Bruce Ingram was composed of a mummified hand with its wrists adorned with a scarab bracelet marked with, quote, cursed be he who moves my body. To him shall come fire, water, and pestilence. Soon after receiving the gift, Ingram's house burned down, followed by flood when it was rebuilt. Came the fire and water, baby.
We have a paperweight that's a wrist.
I know. Honestly, what is the point of a paperweight? Like, why are the papers flying everywhere?
Because you have a window open because you don't have air conditioning.
But, like, is the breeze that breezy? Really? I feel like paperweights are just an excuse to make
King
something else for rich people. King Toots. Like, how much paper could one have?
Back in the day, man, they didn't care about the trees.
True, they didn't have a
We're
laptop.
actually we're a paper-free podcast.
Wow, look at us. Wow, we're so... as our, like, neon light is like...
Yeah, with neon
like,
gas.
The smoke, like, emitting, like, fumes into the ozone. Anyway, this is a environmentally safe fog machine, I promise. There's just a dead frog burning in there. There's a mosquito! Oh my god. It's Lord King Tut. I mean, fuck. I don't want to fucking get the curse. George J. Gould I, who was an American financier, visited the tomb shortly after its discovery. He fell ill and died in May of 1923 due to complications from pneumonia, but people also linked his death to the alleged curse. Prince Ali Kamel Fahmy Bey. Prince Ali Kamel Fahmy Bey, an Egyptian prince, was rumored to have received a gift from Lord Carnarvon that originated from King Tut's tomb. He was later shot dead by his wife in, of course, again, 1923, under mysterious circumstances. Sir Archibald Douglas Reed, who was the radiologist who examined King Tut's mummy before it went off to like a museum or whatever, reportedly developed a mysterious illness and died in 1924. His death has been associated with the curse, but there is limited concrete evidence to support this claim. Obviously, you can't pinpoint evidence. Anyway, the theory is that he examined the body and just 3 days later died after the x-ray.
Jeez.
But people say that maybe it was the radiation that did it, because obviously x-rays back in 1923 were not very safe to do. So, whatever, I don't know. King Tut or not, baby. It wasn't just King Tut's tomb that has been said to have a curse if touched. This is the curse of the Pharaoh. This is not just the curse of King Tut. Now, the tomb of Amenhotep II, also located in the Valley of the Kings, was noted to have a curse, as well as the tomb of Horemheb. And his tomb is located in the Valley of the Kings as well. Everyone out here in the Valley of the... If you're not in the Valley of the Kings, where the heck you are? Oh my god, follow me on Instagram, because I'm going to post a photo and the location is going to be Valley of the Kings.
Yeah.
The tomb of someone named Anktifi contains the warning, quote, any ruler who shall do evil or wickedness to this coffin may... Hemin, which means a local deity, not accept any goods he offers, and may his heir not inherit. So it was like a warning, like, don't freaking touch this coffin, because those who do get something bad. And the tomb of Kentike Ekeki had an inscription, quote, as for all men who shall enter this my tomb impure, there will be judgment. An end shall be made for him. I shall seize his neck like a bird. I shall cast the fear of myself into him. Curses after the Old Kingdom era are less common, though more severe for some reason, sometimes invoking the ire of Thoth, or the destruction of Sekhmet. Zahi Hawass quotes an example of a curse. Quote, "Cursed be those who disturb the rest of a pharaoh. They that shall break the seal of this tomb shall meet death by a disease that no doctor can diagnose." The deaths of other Egyptologists over time, as well as archaeologists who worked in the Valley of the Kings or had connections to ancient Egyptian tombs in general, have experienced some unfortunate circumstances or met premature ends, which is kind of adds to this curse of the pharaohs theory. Modern archaeologists take precautions during excavations, following meticulous procedures to protect the integrity of the sites and the safety of the team members. Advanced techniques in archaeology and scientific analysis have significantly contributed to our understanding of ancient Egypt without substantiating the existence of a supernatural curse. Whoa. So, modern accounts. In 1699, Louis Pénicher wrote an account in which he recorded how a Polish traveler bought 2 mummies in Alexandria and embarked on a sea journey with the mummies in the cargo hold, and the traveler was alarmed by recurring visions of 2 specters in the stormy seas did not abate until the mummies were thrown overboard.
Oh my god. And the sharks were probably like, Schmatzenego.
Pierogi? I don't know.
Mummy pierogis?
Zahi Hawass recalled that as a young archaeologist excavating at Kom Abu Bilo, he had to transport several artifacts from the Greco-Roman site. His cousin died on that day. His uncle died on its first anniversary of that date. And on the 3rd anniversary, his aunt died. The second one, his fish. I made that up. All right. That was funny, though.
You should really be a scholar with your pronunciations.
Years later, when he excavated the tombs of the builders of the pyramids at Giza, he encountered the curse, quote, "All people who enter this tomb who will make evil against this tomb and destroy it, may the crocodile be against them in water, and snakes against them on land. May the hippopotamus be against them in water, the scorpion on land."
What's funny about hippopotamuses?
They ram you. They kill you.
No, they just kill more
They're
people
thick.
than like anything else.
Oh, yeah, true. Though not superstitious, Hawass decided not to disturb the mummies.
I bet Mojo Jojo wants to participate in the mouth ceremony.
I like 'em big.
Or Modo Dodo.
I like
you know who I'm
chunky.
talking about?
Yes.
I bet he wants to participate in the mouth ceremony.
Yes. I like 'em big.
I bet he'd cause a head fracture.
Oh, Jesus. Though not superstitious, Hawass decided not to disturb the mummies. However, he later was involved in the removal of 2 child mummies.
Why
Jesus.
are you such a bitch?
From Bahariya Oasis to a museum, and reported he was haunted by the children in his dreams.
Please.
The phenomena did not stop until the mummy of the father was reunited with the children in the museum. Oh, cute. He concluded that the mummy should not be displayed, though it was a lesser evil than allowing the general public into the tombs. Hawass also recorded an incident of a sick young boy who loved ancient Egypt and was subject to a, quote, miracle cure in the Egyptian Museum when he looked into the eyes of the mummy of King Ahmose I. Hope you guys enjoy this episode. If you want more ancient Egypt episodes on curses and pharaohs and history and ancient civilizations, make sure to comment and subscribe to this channel because we post every single week.
Yeah, let us know if you like this. I feel like there's a little bit of a different style. Very informative.
Yeah.
But, you know, it had a little paranormal twisty-turby.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time here on Cauldron Convos. Bye!